So yesterday I was watching a very interesting animated video about happiness. No dialogues or narrator, just a rat introduced in an empty room and a piece of cheese. The rat sees that piece of cheese, becomes focused and runs towards it. The cheese moves. The rat runs faster and harder, like it is obsessed. Its entire identity becomes that cheese. Eventually it reaches the cheese and a cage snaps shut. Technically, the rat did not fail. It succeeded, and that exactly is the problem. I watched the video twice. Then I put down my phone and just sat with my thoughts. Because something about that animation described the last 10 years of my life more accurately than anything I would have read in a book. The more I thought about it, the more I realized the animation was not really about a rat. It was about the structure of desire itself. About how we are taught from the beginning that wanting something badly enough and chasing it long enough is how you arrive at happiness. That's the operating assumption behind every motivational reel, every LinkedIn post, every self-help framework built on ambition. But neuroscientist Kent Berridge found something that dismantles this entirely. Dopamine does not drive pleasure, it drives pursuit. The chemical that floods your system when you are chasing a goal is not the same system that registers satisfaction when you reach it. This means the brain is literally wired to make the chase feel more alive than the arrival. So you're not broken for feeling empty after that win of yours. But you're working exactly as designed to keep running. I'll be honest, what made that video uncomfortable to watch was how familiar that loop looked. The more you succeed, the more the system demands of you. Each achievement shifts the goalpost farther. The first promotion felt like freedom, but the second or third feels like a regular day, so you need another one. Not because you're greedy, but because your nervous system has rewired around the chase. This is what psychology calls the hedonic treadmill. You move faster, but stay in the same place emotionally. And the cruelest part is that it feels like purpose while it's happening. The chase has a direction. It becomes your entire identity. You stop and what are you? Basically, the trap does not feel like a trap, but it feels like ambition. The Bhagavad Gita diagnosed this 2500 years ago with more precision than most modern frameworks. Chapter 3, verse 37. Kam esh, krodh esh, rajoguna, samudbhava. It is desire, it is anger, born of the quality of rajas. Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that desire born from rajasic energy, the energy of restless action, is the source of suffering. Not the lack of desire's fulfillment, but the structure of desire itself. Now don't get me wrong, the Gita does not say don't act. It says understand what drives that action. Nishkam karma, aka action without attachment to the fruit, does not mean being lazy or passive. It's acting without the ego's survival depending on the outcome. The cheese stops moving when you stop needing it to be yours. Epictetus says the same thing from the West more bluntly. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. The Stoic reading of desire is unambiguous. Placing your well-being in externals is the only real slavery, not poverty or obscurity, but desire for things which are outside your control. Ultimately, both traditions arrive at the same diagnosis through different vocabularies. Problem is not the word. It is the belief that the world owes you your peace. Here's the belief this breaks. I just need to want it badly enough. Well, wanting it badly enough is precisely what triggers the trap mechanism. The rat that ran harder reached the cage sooner. Intensity of desire does not increase your chances of fulfillment. It only increases your dependence on the outcome. The stronger the want, the more of your identity is hostage to the desire. This is what the Upanishads mean by Maya. Not that the world is an illusion. That's a lazy translation. Maya means the world appears to promise what it cannot deliver. So the cheese looks like the destination. The trap is invisible until it closes. So the reframe is not want less, that is suppression, not understanding. The reframe is separate the action from the craving for the result. See, you can pursue money, recognition, love with full effort and still not place your internal stability inside those outcomes. Separating that is what the Gita calls yoga. Not a posture, but a cognitive architecture. What makes this harder than it sounds is that modern culture has built an entire identity economy on top of desire. Your job title is your identity, your salary bracket is your rank, your ambition signals your worth. To step back from that chase, even momentarily, reads socially as failure or laziness or lack of drive. This is the societal layer of that trap. The outer cage reinforcing the inner one. You don't just desire the outcome, you desire the identity of someone who desires outcomes at this level. So the rat race is not just economic, it's also existential. You run because stopping means confronting who you are without that running. That confrontation is what most people spend an entire lifetime avoiding, and they call it productivity, or hustle, or passion. Epictetus had a name for it too. He called it living in accordance with opinion rather than nature. Your nature is not the chase. Your nature, in both Stoic and Vedantic terms, is the awareness that can observe the chase without being consumed by it. The animation ended with the rat trapped, but here's what the frame does not show. The rat never questioned whether the chase was worth running. That question never came to his mind, probably. The wanting arrived, the legs moved, and the trap closed. And the rat never had a moment where it stood still and asked, is this what I actually need? Or is this just what I was conditioned to pursue? That question, now the outcome or the achievement or the cheese, is the only thing that changes the game. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjun is paralyzed on the battlefield not because he is weak, but for the first time he's questioning the war he was raised to fight. Shri Krishna did not tell him to stop fighting. He told him to understand why he was fighting and to act from that place of clarity, not from a compulsion. That distraction is everything. Action from clarity versus the action from craving. The external behavior can look identical. The internal architecture is completely different. One traps you, the other does not. The practical shift is not about doing less or wanting less. It's about building enough internal observation to catch the moment that desire hooks in and choosing whether to follow it or not. Berge's neuroscience gives you the lever. The wanting system fires before you consciously register it. The Stoic practice of prosoche, attention to impulse, trains you to close that gap. The Bhagavad Gita's practice of nishkam karma gives you the orientation. Complete the action, release the fruit. These are not three different ideas, actually. They are three descriptions of the same cognitive shift, decoupling effort from ego attachment to the outcome. So, in our story, the rat did not need to stop running. It needed to be the kind of creature that could look at the cheese and ask a different question altogether. The system that manufactures desire is not going away. The cheese will always keep moving. The trap will keep resetting. But what changes is whether you are running on instinct or on intention. The ancient teachers did not give you a practice. They gave you a diagnosis. The practice is up to you.